you've ever had to fill out one of these, you're lucky, because it means you've been overseas. What it is a quarantine and customs traveller statement that you have to fill in and present as you go through immigration on your return to Australia. As you pass through the terminal, you'll see quarantine information leaflets in 31 languages. The quarantine form itself comes in a number of languages and is fairly self-explanatory. It's here that you have to tick if you have any of the listed quarantinable items in your luggage. If you have nothing to declare, off you go through the green exit. If you do, it's out through the red zone, where a quarantine officer will assess the goods. They may think they're safe and let you take them home with you. They may seize them for treatment and give them back at a later date, or they may confiscate them. If you're thinking of sneaking any quarantinable items into the country, then think again, because they're very good at sniffing out contraband. This nose is the latest in quarantine technology. It can sniff out meat, fruit, foliage and eggs from 10 metres away. And it belongs to Willy, the newest recruit to Quarantine's Beagle Brigade. Together with his caretaker mum, Anita, Willy sniffs out between 7 and 15 undeclared quarantinable items each day. Gee, it runs you around a lot.
Oh yes, I've got very fit since I've had this job, and so is he. He's like my training instructor for gymnastics or something. Yeah, he's very, very fit.
Now tell me, why use a beagle for something like this and not maybe a Labrador?
I think the main reason that we use beagles is, well, there's two main reasons. They've got very good noses and they're very approachable to the public. All beagles in our program are trained to have a very high degree of discernment. That's one of the great things about dogs. They've got such a terrific sense of smell. To us, it's just a sort of haze of smell. To them, it's very, very individual, different smells, and he'll just chase the one that he knows he's meant to respond to, and track it down.
Here we go, Willy. Look at that. There we go. Good. Well, let's find out how good Willy's nose really is. In this bag, there's some meat, some garlic, and some bulbs. I'll put it down, wait for my luggage, and see what happens. Let's go. Let's go. It seems that no matter how prying his super snout is, no one is offended by this gentle canine.
You've been carrying some fruit in your bags in the last few days.
When he picks up a scent, with manners intact, Willy sits beside the bag with the offending odour and lets Mum do all the talking.
Yeah. Well, just make sure that you haven't forgotten one down the bottom of your bag.
No, we ate them at Wellington. Oh, thank God we did. We're starved. Isn't he good?
Good dog.
You're a good boy.
Okay, what have we got in here? Willy, sit.
We meet again.
Yes, we meet again.
So Willy wants to have a good look in here.
He certainly does. So we might just open this bag up and
see how good the nose
see, yeah, just what the nose has found. We've got an orange and we've got some garlic bulbs and we've got some sliced pork as well. Good dog, Willy. Good boy.
Willy, you deserve quite a reward for that.
Yes. That's what he'll get.
What would happen to
Good
me
boy.
lately? Am I in trouble now if this is not set up?
Depends on the situation. I would look at your declaration and see whether you had declared the items, and then I'd have to make a decision about whether I thought that you may have just forgotten them, which lots of people do, or whether you were trying to bring the things in deliberately without declaring them.
And what are the penalties of bringing something in illegally, deliberately?
Oh, the penalties are quite severe. They're up to $50,000 in fines, and there is a 10-year prison term, or up to a 10-year prison term. Yeah, it's quite severe, but that's because the threat of pests and diseases coming into Australia, what it could do for our agriculture economically is very, serious.
Australia first trialled beagles for quarantine in 1992, adopting the idea from the United States. The project was an enormous success, and now there are beagles like Willy sniffing around baggage carousels at Brisbane, Sydney, Perth and Melbourne airports, all helping to do their bit to protect Australia from foreign pests and diseases. Of the 5.2 million people who entered Australia last year, mostly by plane, some by ship, 10% of declared items were of quarantine concern. Every month, 5,000 items considered unsafe to enter the country are seized. Fruit and vegetables, dairy products and plant seeds and clippings are amongst the common items people try and bring into the country. The more unusual ones include a shrunken human head, bottled fetuses, and take a look at this. This is something to wash down dinner with. It's baby mice wine. It's surprising that some of these goods, such as wooden articles and even stuffed animals, may be acceptable following close scrutiny and treatment. Quarantine Officer Gary Moxham shows us some of the seizures of a routine morning.
Yes, well, we have some raw peanuts, which we took. Over here, of course, we have pomegranates. I've cut one open so you can get an idea of what the inside's like. Fresh fruit and vegetables are prohibited unless there's a permit to import them, of course. Shark fin here, we have some live skin and hide beetle in the fins of the shark's fins. A young lady this morning was given a rose by her boyfriend when she left overseas, and unfortunately she couldn't bring the rose in, so I was able to cut off just the flower part of it and let her have the rose, which is the most important part, of course.
What a nice guy.
But of course we have buds. It's a live plant cutting.
There are hundreds of diseases and pests around the world that Australia is still protected from, thanks to quarantine and the cooperation of travellers. If you'd like more information about what you can and can't bring into the country, give the Chief Quarantine Officer in your State Department of Agriculture a call. They'll be happy to answer any queries you have.